Hello everyone. Today we're going to be taking our practice on the wall. You'll see that I have my yoga mat, the end of it, it's butted up against the wall. So we're going to take a few moments to get our props set up today. So first of all, need a block. And if you don't have the block, taking our blanket, folding it into a rough block shape. And again, if you are interested in having a block for your home practice, they have them for I think just under $12 on Amazon, and you can have it within a day or two. And you'll also need a second blanket just for warmth, because we will be holding our beginning pose and our ending pose for several minutes. And also we are going to need a chair nearby. So I have a folding chair just off to the side. I'll have it ready so that when the time comes, I'm ready to bring that into our practice. So again, take the moment, pause the recording, and just get everything set up. Make your room warm, because as I said, we are holding beginning and end pose for 4 minutes-ish. As well, I want to show you a modification for child's pose. I know some people have difficulty releasing into child's pose. It's quite uncomfortable for their thighs, for their feet, and then their spine can't relax into it. So we're going to try something different. So we're going to sit in a easy pose, cross-legged. We're going to find that tall spine. There's two versions of child's pose. One is active, one is passive. So for the active version, for those that can't do child's, we're going to find the long spine and reach, extend forward using whatever props. It could be the back of the chair, it could be a block, depending on the height that you can release down to, and reach actively forward with the arms, and again down with the tailbone. So that would be our modification for an active child's. And for our passive child's, is a moment to rest and just let the spine relax. Same setup, except this time, however you need this part propped, you're just going to round down. And what I would recommend for the second time you do this pose is you switch up the legs so that the other foot comes closer. Just give those hips the opportunity to equal flexibility, movement. So let's get everything set up, and then we will start. So I'm just going to get what I need set up, and then to get onto the wall, have your prop, whether it's a blanket or the block, ready. And we are going to, just getting my music set up, we're going to set our left hip against the wall, come down onto our side while continuing to shift the bum towards the wall until we can come down to our side, swing the legs up, and then my bum is butted against the wall. We're going to lift the hips, slide that block under the sacrum, not the bum, because then we're not supporting the spine. So lock to sacrum. Take a moment to adjust before we get started. There we go. Take a moment, have your blanket hopefully nearby. You're going to cover yourself with your blanket. We're going to take these few moments here, allow the spine to slowly decompress. Close your eyes, get warm, get comfortable. If you find it difficult, you can also bring a little bend into the legs, whatever you need. start to bring some movement back into fingers and toes, wiggling. And then we're going to bring a pointing, active pointing into the feet to bring a stretch along the front of the shins there and into the front of the feet. Switching to a flex so we feel a stretch into the calves. One more pointing. And one more flexing. Bending into the knees, sliding the feet down, bringing the feet together. Gentle pressure on the inside of the thighs if you want to increase the feeling of opening. Not to the point of pain, just gentle. Take 5 breath cycles here. And release. Let's plant both feet. This is going to be a smaller movement. We're just going to bring flowing back and forth. Starting to bring mobility into the hips. Keeping ourselves supported by our block. And release. We're going to extend up through this left leg. We want this left leg active, flexing into the left foot. Inhale, draw the right knee into our torso. So we want to keep this hugging in as much as you comfortably can so that you notice that sensation in the right hip crease. One more breath here, and then planting that right foot. We're going to roll to the outer edge of the right foot, keeping left side stable, and rolling back to center, just slightly past, not forcing it, just drawing it. Rolling wide, back to midline and past. One more time here. And then we're going to place that right ankle across the left thigh. Really be careful with your left knee, because when we're against the wall, there's different pressures, everything in factor here. So keep a tiny micro bend when we enter our figure 4. And then we're going to actively draw that right knee back, or you can add gentle pressure to the inner thigh until you can feel that sensation deep in that hip area. Keeping the flex in the left foot and the right foot. One more breath here, and release. Switching sides, flexing into the right foot and drawing that left knee into your chest. Really working it, pushing up through that right heel, almost as if you're trying to extend it further away, and hugging that left knee into the chest. Drawing your awareness to your shoulders, you're still trying to feel that opening across the heart space. So really trying to avoid rolling the shoulders forward, but drawing them down into the mat. And under our body, the shoulder blades come closer together. And planting that left foot, we're going to roll to the outer edge of the left foot, back to midline, slightly across. One more pulse here. and micro bend into the right knee. Place that left ankle across, flexing into both feet, and then gentle pressure to bring that opening into the left hip. And releasing, extending both legs long. I'm going to bring a flex into both feet and slide the legs wide. Keeping those legs active, just bring that stretch into the inner thighs. Just keeping our breath focused so that we can stay present with our practice. Taking one more breath here. You can use the hands to guide the legs back up, bending into the legs. We'll take a moment here with knees bent, feet planted, and slowly drawing both knees just a bit closer. Careful with the block under that you're not straining the spine. Planting the feet again. Inhale, hips are going to rise. Remove that block, set it off to the side. Rolling onto the side. Just rolling, inching yourself away from the wall. We're going to have that block between our knees. Rolling onto the back. Trying to move my props out of the way for a moment. So again, block between the knees, arms wide, and then allow those knees to fall to the right. Gentle pressure with the right hand on the knee, and you're extending back out in the opposite direction with the left arm. We're really trying to have both shoulder blades in contact with the mat. Again, when you're ever in a twist, if your breath is becoming difficult, you want to ease up on the twist a bit. Bring your arm back. Just keep it with the lower spine, otherwise extending back. I prefer to look straight ahead rather than out across my arm because I tend to accumulate stress in my neck very easy. Take one more breath here. Bringing arm back, rolling onto our back, and we're going to take our twist in the other direction. So keeping that block or blanket, whatever you're using, allowing those knees to fall to the left. Gentle pressure with this left hand on the top and reaching out with your right arm. Take one more breath cycle here. Rolling back onto the back. Setting our block off to the side. We're going to take a moment on our side body, closing the eyes. Pushing into that hand, bringing yourself up. Coming up to standing. Find our mountain pose. Feet hip distance, parallel, active legs, active core, shoulders rolling back. closing the eyes, just working on our staying present, our balance. And opening the eyes. We're going to have a chair handy for those that can't extend their head down below their heart because of dizziness, but otherwise I'll demonstrate both. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, hinging at the hips, bending into the knees until you can bring the torso down, fingertips to the mat. Inhale, hands to shin, halfway lift, see tall spine, and my tailbone reaches back because it's actually pressing into the wall. And release down. Inhale, rise. And hands meet at heart center. I'll demonstrate the version now for those that cannot extend their head below their heart. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, hinge at the hips, bend into the knees. Hands are going to come to the seat of a chair. And we're not actually resting our weight on the wall. It's just reaching back. So from here, halfway lift, keeping the hands on the chair. Exhale, release. Inhale, rise. Extending up. And hands at heart center. And we're all going to take downward dog version on the chair. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, hinging at the hips. So almost as if we're doing downward dog on the floor. Tailbone reaches back, arms reaching forward. Shifting weight left and right. You'll feel the hips bending into one knee at a time. Just bringing that stretch into the back of the hips. Working to maintain that long spine. And with your next inhale, slowly rolling up. Returning to your mountain pose. We're going to use the wall again more as a cue for what our body should be doing and not as a means of support. So we'll follow along. We're going to come to the side, stepping a few inches out from the wall. I have about 2, maybe 3 inches. We're going to play with what we need based on our body, what structure. Inhale, that left arm's rising, so my left hip is against the wall, my left arm rises, and then as I'm reaching this left arm across into my side opener, my left hip is actually pushing into the wall. And that encourages us to keep the equal weight in the feet so that we're not dumping all of our weight into the right leg. So by actively pushing the left hip in, we're keeping that nice balance. Right arm will slide down as we reach this left arm across, and the counterbalance from the reaching left hip will keep us stable. One more breath here. Inhale, rise. We'll switch sides, so turning to face the right hip to the wall, finding your placement. Right arm is going to rise. And then we're going to reach that right arm across as we draw our right hip into the wall as a counterbalance to our reaching. If you find it more comfortable, you can bring the feet apart. Really working that, drawing that right hip to the wall as you reach with your active right arm. Inhale, release, and rise. Take a moment again in your mountain pose. One breath cycle here. And we're going to turn to face the wall. We're going to bring a gentle back bend in. We're really working the spine today. So we're bending this way to bring the arc, and then this way to bring rounding. So there is going to be a lot of moving back and forth. When we bring one direction in, it's good as a counter pose to release it in the other direction. So we're going to come close to the wall, facing the wall. Arms are going to extend up the wall. And then we're drawing our hips to the wall. My toes are about maybe 2 inches away. Again, based on your body structure, play with what you need before you enter the pose. Arms are active, reaching up. And then we're going to draw our hips towards the wall as we extend the arms up and slightly back. We're really working to maintain that neutral position of the chin so we're not dumping it back. So again, hips drawing to the wall, active arms reaching up. One more breath here, and releasing to the wall, turning. Take a moment. Now we'll bring in the counter pose again. Our back was arched. Now we want to bring the opposite direction in. Bringing our downward dog. Arms reaching forward. Tailbone, hips reaching back. Long spine. Shifting our weight. Bending into left knee, right knee. Taking turns. Really working to bring that opposite reaching. Fingertips one way, hips the other. One more breath here, and slowly rolling up. We're going to draw our chair just slightly closer. We have taken forward fold before. Again, if you tend to get dizzy, wait a moment and I'll show you your modification. Otherwise, we're coming back against the wall, playing with the distance, again, based on your body structure. We're going to find a long spine, slowly coming down, keeping this chair in front, just as a source of stability while we come down into our forward fold. Keeping as much of a bend into the knees as you need to release down. We're going to hang here for a moment. My hips, my bum is continuing to press. It's not resting on the wall, it's reaching, pressing into the wall. And hanging here. If you tend to get dizzy, we're going to use the chair again. Reach, extend. Otherwise, reaching down. And your next breath, whichever position you're choosing, we're going to try and straighten the legs a bit more as we draw the torso down. Might not be much of a change, but it's just bringing a deeper stretch. One more breath here, and then hands to the back of the chair, slowly bringing ourselves up to be stable, using the support of the chair. One breath here. Take a moment. Remove your chair. And slowly sliding down into a squat. Coming down. Just going to readjust my camera. What you're going to do is you're going to come down onto your stomachs. Stacked arms, resting your forehead. So just find yourself in that comfortable position. Taking that strong breath. One more breath here. And again, I'm just learning as I go with camera angles. So over time, hopefully these videos will get better. One more breath here. Drawing your torso up, and then you're going to draw your right knee up to a cactus position, then slide it a bit away. Take your right arm across. Turn the torso and rest the head. This time, we've done this before, but this time we're going to put gentle pressure of pushing the left hand into the mat. It will increase the twist into the spine as we release into our hip opener. One more breath here. And release, coming back to center. We're going to switch sides, so drawing the left knee up and away. Left arm across. We're resting our head on that left arm, and then gentle pressure with that right hand into your mat to increase the intensity of the twist in the spine. Take one more breath here and releasing back to stacked arms, forehead to the arms. Taking 2 breath cycles here. Switching positions so you can see a bit better and releasing. We're going to extend our arms directly out from our shoulders, keeping those elevated fingers. Draw those elbows directly over. We're going to actively push our legs down into the mat, all the way from our hips to the tops of our feet, almost as if they're being sucked to the floor. So we want that active part of our body. Release the forehead down. And using the strength of the spine, not the arms as a push-up, strength of the spine. Inhale, rise. Exhale, release. Keeping those legs pushing down. Inhale, rise. Release. One more time, inhale, rise. We're going to stay really pushing those legs down. You'll notice that sensation in the lower spine, that arcing again. Exhale, release. Bringing the hands under the shoulder. We're going to push back to our child's pose. Knees wide, big toes together. And again, those that can't take child's, take the modification I showed you at the beginning. And then arms are reaching out, extending, active in the opposite direction of our hips. Bringing that lengthening into the spine. One more breath here. And inhale, rise. Finding that tall spine. Taking a moment together, a breath. And then we'll meet in all fours for cat, cow, for spine mobility. And we're really going to work the lower part. So really work at keeping your awareness on drawing the tailbone down and then reaching the tailbone back, bringing that arc into the lower spine. So let's set ourselves up, shoulders over wrists, fingers spread wide, and hips directly over knees. And the knees are no wider than hip distance. We don't want this laying out. So finding that stacking with all those parts. On our inhale, we're looking through, belly drops, and that tailbone reaches back and out, bringing that arc into the lower back. And we'll start with the lower part of the body with the tailbone dropping down, slowly, gradually, vertebrae by vertebrae, rounding until the head drops last. Really working that rounding into the spine, drawing the stomach in, and reversing. Inhale. Exhale. Again, head drops last. One more round through, starting with the tailbone. Inhale. Exhale, drawing that tailbone down. Head comes last. And releasing down into our passive child's pose. So you can take a block, you can take whatever you need to rest under your head. So what we want to accomplish with the passive child's is that whatever height we need, this block becomes the means of support for our upper body. So right now my shoulders are not weight bearing. So if you do have blocks, take as many as you need to find that part where you can just round into the spine, release the weight from the shoulder support. I'm going to take one more breath cycle here. Hands come under the shoulders. We're going to roll ourselves up. Set our props off to the side. Just having my blanket handy for the ending. And then we're going to come down onto our backs. I'm going to extend out this way so that you can see what I'm doing. Coming wide into our Shavasana for 3 breath cycles. Rolling the shoulders back, opening up into the heart space. Let's take one more breath cycle here. Drawing the knees into the chest. Let's give ourselves a big squeeze. First, releasing the head down, and then we'll take happy baby. So we're going to extend either the lower legs up. You can hold the backs of the thighs, or you're going to hold the inner arches of the feet, drawing those thighs down alongside the body. Yes, it's a very awkward looking pose, but it's an excellent stretch for the back, the thighs, throwing everything. So let's just stay here for a few moments. Whichever hand position you've chosen, we're just going to alternate straightening or just kicking more or less. They don't have to come straight. Taking one more breath. One more squeeze. Let's draw our forehead into our knees, really rounding into the back. And release. Extending out long again into our Shavasana. Rolling shoulders back. Let's bend into both legs, plant both feet. We're going to place that prop, whether it's the block, a book, whatever you need between the knees. Feet hip distance, parallel. Roll shoulders back in case you've lost that engagement of the shoulder blades coming together. Inhale, hips will rise. We're going to bend into the arms again, pointing the fingertips up to the ceiling as the upper arms draw down and close to the torso. Inhale, hips rise a little bit more. And releasing, rolling down. Releasing our block. One more squeeze. And release. Give me a moment to grab my extra block, which I forgot behind you there. And hopefully you have blocks. If not, again, really encourage you to have them. I will try and demonstrate an option if you do not have the blocks. So what we want to do, we're going to set this block so that it becomes a support for our shoulder blades, slowly coming down onto that block. And then we're going to take the block at this level place it under the skull. Fingertips should travel down. Make sure that that is fully stable support, making sure it's not resting on the fleshy part of the neck, but on the round part of the skull. Taking a moment to readjust under the shoulders. I really like to lay in this position with my legs crossed and then switching which leg is closer halfway through. You can choose cobblers or extending the legs long. I'll choose my favorite. And then we're going to take our blankets and cover ourselves. We'll stay here for a few moments. So if you do have blocks, get yourself set up. Otherwise, I'm going to try and demonstrate quickly how you can do this with your props that you may have at home, assuming you still have the two props. I'm going to spend some time building this prop, getting our blankets. We should have two from our practice, folding these up. Making ourselves nice stacked. Maybe even having a pillow handy. Butting that stacked mound of blankets against our lower spine, coming down, bringing your pillow in as the support you need for the skull. And again, choosing the leg position of your preference. By bringing that support under the spine and under the head, it releases the shoulders. They melt back as the heart space opens. Staying here for 5 more breath cycles, or as many as you like. Take our final breath here in this heart opening pose. If you have a block under your head, you're going to lift the head, remove the block. If you're on the stacked blankets and pillow, we'll all roll to our side, slow and carefully. Coming up to a seated position. And the same pose that I showed as a modification for the passive child's pose, we're all going to take that together. So finding that cross-legged position, and we're just going to release down. Feel free to hold a pillow, round over the pillow, release the head down. Taking a moment, take a note of how your legs are positioned. Let's switch which leg comes closer. Rounding down again. here. And slowly rising. Setting our props off to the side. And thank you for joining me again. Hopefully this was a nice release for your spine. I will be adding more mini practices, trying to work on different parts of the body, just keeping us active and well focused in our body and in our mind and our breath. Miss you all very much, and I hope you have a great day. Bye guys.